I'm Maggie Mancinelli-Cahill. I'm the producing artistic director here at Capitol Rep, and this is my real-life, true ghost story. It was a few years back, and we were doing a play, and one of our actresses was off stage right, which is the darkest area of the theater. And she heard this tremendous clanging going on back there. And she went to our stage manager and she said, "What's going on? You know, the audience can't hear us with all this clanging." And the stage manager said, "What clanging?" She went back to stage right, waited for her entrance, but she felt a figure next to her. And she felt this presence, and she looked up, and she described it to me like this: a figure about 6'4" or 6'5", wearing a long black coat down past his knee with a very wide brimmed black felt hat. And she was very afraid. She was late to her entrance. And after the show, she came into my office and she said, Maggie, this thing happened, and you know, I saw this figure. And you know, I listened and I said, oh, these actresses, you know, the stories they come up with. Flash forward, we start doing A Christmas Carol. Well, Larry Linville was playing Scrooge, and it was Larry's last show that he would ever do before he passed away. And he was over here on stage left, and he came to me after the show. He said, I was getting ready to make my entrance, and he said, and you know how I'm prone to talk to the person next to me, which he was. He would talk to anyone who was next to him. He was a very friendly guy. And he said, and so I just started talking about, oh, here I go, I've got to go, it's about my time, you know, here, you know, go. And he said he turned to his right, and he realized that it wasn't a cast member at all, it was a figure. And what kind of figure did he describe to me? He described the figure as about 6'4" or 6'5", wore a long black coat past his knee, and a wide-brimmed black felt hat. He was terrified. And I listened to that, and as I heard him describe the figure, I went, that's sort of interesting that two actors in different years of being on our stage would have the same experience. Flash forward again. I was alone in the theater doing some work late at night. I was the only one here when I heard a loud clanking sound come from that stage right area. And I thought, well, you know, must be the master electrician in our electrics room. What's he doing here this late at night? I'm the only one here. So I barged into the theater. Every theater has a ghost light. It's one bulb that we leave on stage so that ghosts can go into the light. The ghost light was not on. And I just came barging through here. I came right across the stage. About halfway through, I stopped. This is the noise. This is the noise. This is what the actors told me. This is the noise that she heard over there. I was absolutely terrified. It was so loud. And by the way, when you look over at this part of our theater, there's no pipes over there. So when you go over and you see it and you actually go, what could be making that noise? There's nothing over there. And I got so terrified. I just ran straight into my office and packed my things. I mean, you have never, ever seen me move so fast. My heart was pounding so hard, really, when I got to my car and all the way home. It was a physical feeling that I had. The next couple of days, I told some of the staff that I had had this experience. I never told a staff member what the ghost or the figure looked like, ever, because I'm skeptical, and also because I wanted to know if there was other sightings. I wanted to know if it was the same figure, and so I never told anyone, not my best friend, not my closest coworker, no one. But I did tell them about this clanging, and I did tell them that I was frightened. So one of our staff members said, oh no, we have to have a seance, we have to get rid of this ghost, let's find out what it is. So we did. And we hired a medium who was, you know, relatively famous in the area for being able to cleanse haunted houses. So he came here and he talked to us and he said, oh yes, there's a lot of activity here. Now you have to understand, I'm sitting in the circle and I'm going, I didn't believe it for a second. I mean, I did this for our staff. I thought it would be a lark, you know. And he goes, there's a lot of activity here. And he said, it's friendly. He said, whatever is here is friendly. And he said, and I sense children. There were sometime there must have been a lot of children in this building. And he said, it may be a teacher. And he goes, and ma'am, there's a figure standing right in front of you. And he points to me. And I go, there is. Now, it was dark in here. There were candles around. It was, you know, there was sage that had been, you know, spread around for, you know, cleansing. And I was like, there's a figure in front of me. I sensed absolutely nothing. And he goes, yes. And he's trying to tell you something, that it's okay. And I said, okay, well, that's nice. And I said, well, what does the figure look like? And he said, well, it's a male. I would describe it as tall, between 6'4" and 6'5". I can hardly finish the story. Between 6'4" and 6'5", wearing a long black coat that falls below his knees, about mid-calf, and he has a large black felt hat on. I don't know if that moment made a believer of me, but I can tell you I was really taken aback. And so we continued on with the seance. We did some ritual things. I did participate after that point. And then I can tell you, we haven't had a ghost sighting since.